Hello there, I'm Ken Loggins. You found Home Folks Dickson County here on the Home Folks DC YouTube channel. I appreciate you being here. I encourage you while you're here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free to do so. Also, check us out on Facebook. We have a Home Folks Dickson County Facebook page as well. We encourage you to follow us there. Now, why Home Folks Dickson County? Well, I had the pleasure, the privilege of working in the radio business in Dickson County for about 10 years, a little more than 10 years, a bit more than a decade, from 96 to 2007. Made a lot of dear lifelong friends during that decade plus, and also made a lot of memories. And I thought it would be a really neat thing to do to revisit some of those years, revisit some of those memories, and chat with some of those people that I made those memories with. Now, there's a reason that we're debuting this YouTube channel on May 2nd, Old Timers Day, because, of course, that's a very special day to a lot of us who have lived in Dickson, continue to live in Dickson. The theme for Old Timers Day 2026 is Old Time Religion, and I thought that would be a perfect time to sit down with one of my dear lifelong friends that I first became acquainted with during my time in radio in Dickson, Brother Donnie Craig. How are you?
I'm fine. Am I your lifelong friend?
Yes.
Okay. How old are you?
No doubt about it.
Did I supposed to say that?
Oh, sure. That's
okay,
fine.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much for doing this.
It's just wonderful. It's wonderful to have this occasion. You are a professional.
Well, thank you. So are you.
Well, they say that.
Before we go any further, at times while we visit, you're going to be referring to me as Velvet.
That's right.
And no one else calls me Velvet but Brother Donnie Craig.
That's right.
And how did that whole thing get started?
Well, being in the ministry, I'm into how a voice should sound. And when I met you, you were on the radio, and you had a great radio voice, and it was silky smooth. But I thought, Velvet, the velvet voice of Kenny Loggins, okay? And that's how Velvet, it's really, what am I trying to say? Compliment to you, sir.
I'm honored to be referred to as Velvet.
Yeah. How do you refer to me?
This kind of depends on the day.
Right.
The scenario but anyway, so if you hear Brother Donnie say Velvet from time to time, that's what's going on with that. Now, tell us a bit about the church building where we're recording today, this visit here on Home Folks Dickson County.
Yes, sir. We're coming to you from my office at Mount Sinai, Sinai, not Sinai, not Zini. If you live in that community, it's Mount Sinai. But
so just ignore how it's spelled, in other words.
Yeah. Well, but I'm into articulation and spelling. This church building was built in 1958, and my dad was in this office for 52 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and then he passed in 2010. They asked me to be the pastor. Now, I've been here 15 years. So I'll never make it to 52 years, brother.
Don't sell yourself short.
Well, thank you.
Donnie Craig, our special guest here on this initial visit of Home Folks Dickson County. Now, let's rewind. Way on back there. There.
Oh, I'm going back.
Let's talk birthplace, birthday.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Elkton, Kentucky.
Elkton, Kentucky.
I was born on the square. Dr. Lynn delivered me second floor on the square. There's not a sign there or nothing. But anyway, that's where I was born. May the 29th. May I give dates? Is that okay to give dates?
Sure.
May the 29th, 1951. My dad pastored the Allegory Baptist Church, not Allegra, but Allegory.
Okay.
Baptist Church. And we moved from there in 1955. In 1956, we arrived in Dickson, and my dad pastored Fairview Baptist Church. 1956, in this church building. He went from there, built this church in 1958. So that's how I got, I guess where I am now.
I've known you for 30 plus years now.
Wow.
Give or take.
Oh, really? Okay.
Never did realize your dad had this history with
Yes.
this particular building until
Yeah.
now.
Uh-huh.
Fascinating stuff.
The same pulpit. He stood behind it. Now, he was 5'3". Now, I'm 5'7", but I'm going to heaven. And I still stand behind the same pulpit that he did. A fellow by the name of Parchment built that pulpit for him, if my memory serves me right. And he purposely, two things, he made it a little bit shorter, and because my dad was fire and brimstone, he bolted it down. It's bolted down. Now, I'm just not the preacher my dad was, and people tell me that. So, anyway, I digress.
So it's still bolted down in there.
It's still bolted down if I want to kick it or punch it.
Okay, so there's still time to do that if you ever.
There is, but I'll be
Take the notion.
75 next month. Remember that date. I can give you an address to send gifts to.
Exactly.
Or we live in a different era. Gift cards.
Oh, yeah. So
Gift
very
card.
convenient.
Maybe
Yeah.
Cracker Barrel. Fuzzle Shop downtown.
They could just email that to you.
Absolutely. Oh, can they?
Now,
I
if,
don't
if,
know.
if you remember anything about our time on the radio back in the day, you know this is a running gag that we would
Absolutely.
always have a countdown to
Is
Brother
it called
Donnie's
a
birthday.
shtick?
Yeah, shtick,
or
routine, gag, whatever.
Yeah.
It would probably make a few people gag, I imagine, but we really had a lot of fun with it. So May 29th
Yes, sir.
is
Yes,
the
sir.
big day. So
75 years old, so send $75. That would be wonderful.
you know, a lot of pastors' families, kind of like Army families, military families, move around a lot. You have to make a lot of transitions, but not necessarily the case with your family. You got to Dickson, you pretty much settled.
Yeah, we did not move around. We moved from Fairview Baptist Church here in 1958. Now, 1 year, 62, 63, Pop took us to Hayti, Missouri, and he pastored the Dry Bayou. Did I pronounce that right? Dry Bayou Baptist Church 1 year. Then we came back here.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I've been to Hayti before. If you blink, you might miss it.
You've been to Hayti?
Yes.
Yes,
We
sir.
are visiting with Brother Donnie Craig on this initial visit of Home Folks Dickson County. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, tell us a bit about your mom. You've talked a bit about your dad. Talk a bit about your mom. What was her name?
Her name was Mary Ruth Utley Craig. She was an Utley from the Russellville, Kentucky area. And she was born, can I give dates?
Sure.
She was born in 1923.
Okay.
And she liked 40 days making it to 75.
All right.
And I'll be 75 in May the 29th. Can I throw that date out? May
Sure.
the 29th.
Again.
But I thought she was a lovely lady. Very, very pretty.
Do you remember much about your grandparents on either side?
On either side, my grandmother, her mother, was a Reger, and then she was an Utley. She married Lawrence Utley, and a wonderful lady, very sweet. And if my memory serves me correct, she passed when I was in the Army, when I was in Germany,
Okay.
with my lovely wife, Miss Debbie. And but Lawrence and my grandmother, Ida Utley, and then my pawpaw, Craig, was John Craig, and my grandmother passed. I had a step grandmother.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir. And they lived in Elkton. My mother's folks were from Russellville, Kentucky.
Okay. How many siblings did you have?
I have an older brother, Russell, who is passed now, a brother, Morrison, who was younger than Russell. He was a basketball star.
Really?
Most valuable player, Johnny Unitas, gave him his trophy. Warren Medley got Johnny Unitas to come to Dickson, 1961. And a wonderful lady, Linda, my sister, and she played the piano, and she passed in 2018, and we need a pianist. Can I throw that out there?
Sure.
We pay $25 a week. And so my brother Morrison, who lives in Waverly, and myself are the only ones left.
So you have a fairly big family.
Yes.
Was your mother a homemaker? Just had to take care of the kids and make sure everybody was tended to and make sure everything was done around the house. And
she did that and still was a cook at Dickson High School.
okay,
Story,
Sure.
chocolate oatmeal cookies.
love them.
When I was in high school, at 10 o'clock, I would go to the kitchen. She would hide me in this room off the cafeteria and feed me chocolate oatmeal cookies and milk. One day, may I say drop names? James Sullivan, the principal, came in for his cookies, and I was inside the room, and he was outside my door. I was scared to death, brother. But I made it through that. But my mother was a wonderful lady.
So if any of your former teachers might have wondered why you had that sugar rush by lunchtime in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Is that word ping?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. You're in church all the time as a youngster.
Yes,
so,
sir.
I mean,
Yes,
born
sir.
into that pastor's family. Your dad, Earl, did he get work on the side or just work exclusively in the pastorate?
He had so much talent, and I don't. Here,
Sell yourself short.
well, here at the church, he was a carpenter. He was a painter. And we had to pay to have that stuff done now because Pop did it, and I don't do it. I'm just not talented in that area. But Pop, he was amazing. We came here from Kentucky in 1956. He got jobs, carpentry, painting, and you don't remember hog killings, do you?
Yeah.
Can I talk about hog killings? Is that proper?
They're just fine unless my Razorbacks are involved. That's where I get kind of nervous when they talk about hog killings and the hogs.
I never
but
thought about that, hog killing.
the other kind's fine.
But he was very proficient in that, and he was very strong, and everybody was amazed how he could do that and cut them up. And did you ever see a hog scalded?
I've actually heard of it. I've never actually witnessed it. I might be a bit too queasy to witness a hog scalding.
Plus you're a Razorback. You don't want to think about that.
I see them roasted all the time. That's enough.
You see this watch here?
Oh, yes.
What does it say? That's Tennessee Volunteers.
It does say
I had
that.
to make payments on that watch.
Wow.
Yeah, okay, but it's a fossil, I think, if I
Okay.
can drop names.
All going to the athletic department,
Yeah,
funding NIL. We digress, though.
we digress.
This is Home Folks Dickson County. Our pleasure to be joined by Donnie Craig on this initial visit. And by the way, I neglected to mention this when we first started, but one of the things I have in mind for this channel is as long as there's a YouTube, this channel is going to be around. These visits are going to be around. And we're doing this in memory and in honor of those that have gone before. People like Mr. Warren Medley, that
Warren Medley.
Brother Donnie mentioned a while ago, Henry Reagan,
Bill Potts.
yes, Joe Webster.
Joe Webster.
The more recent years, Chuck Dauphin, Larry
Chuck
Petty.
Dauphin.
Once again, we wouldn't be doing this without those guys and the
Yes.
gals that came before. So, memories of them will crop up quite often during not only this visit that we're doing with Brother Donnie, but in future visits as well. Before you even get started in school, did you realize that you really loved music? You had a talent for singing music. Did you enjoy singing in church?
Well, at Allegory Baptist Church in Allegory, Kentucky, when I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
May I tell this story?
Sure.
Can I talk?
It's your time. You tell as many stories as you want.
My mother said, son, I was like 3 years old, if you will sing, I'll bake you a chocolate cake. And then my dad said, son, in a very authoritative voice, if you will sing, I will take you to Elkton and sit on a Case tractor.
Wow.
If someone has one you want to give away, I'll give you my address.
So
But
you're singing.
I started singing and chocolate cake. My sister Linda and I would sing together, and she would say, Mama, make him sing, because I would pantomime. I would just voice it. I was.
You knew you'd be getting the cake regardless.
Yeah, the cake was coming no matter
So
what.
you'd lip sync.
But anyway, I forgot what we were talking about.
Your first special in church.
Oh, yeah, that was it. I think it was At the Cross.
You remember the song?
Yes, sir.
That's
Yes,
awesome.
sir. That's the only song I've ever memorized, because I cannot memorize things.
At the cross, where I first saw
First
the light.
saw the light,
Yeah.
and the burdens of my heart were rolled away. It was there by faith I received my sight, and now
Now I'm happy all the day.
now I'm happy. Man, you sound like a Baptist, brother. I'm sorry. We don't get into religion.
You guys actually still sing those songs here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We do, sir. We do.
Excellent. So you start school in Dickson.
Yes, sir.
What was that like? Did you like school?
No, I did not. Actually started school in Burns.
Okay.
Was there about a half year. Then we came here. I was in Burns for about a half year. And we were going to Kentucky that day. I think they were coming to get me and take me. But I only had a half day. But I got so homesick that I ran away from school.
Wow.
I went off the hill down to the rock quarry. That's what it was, a rock quarry. And this very nice gentleman saw me walking by myself. And he stopped by. Son, where are you going? I'm going to that house right there. No, you're not. That's where I live. So what did he do? He put me in his truck, and he took me back to Burns School, and the sweetest, most wonderful lady, Miss Eileen Stewart, they came back to get me. No, he had me in the truck. She took me for ice cream, so kind. And I was so upset I gave it away. That's the only time I've ever given away ice cream. And then my parents come and got me. My mother said, son, why did you run away from me? I mean, we were coming to get you. And by the way, I didn't know my way home, so I never got there.
I'm still stuck on, I live there. No, you don't. That's
no, you
I
don't. And I thought, oh, man, I blew that.
Won't use that one again. Yeah.
No.
As we progress through grade school, do you have any teachers specifically that you remember that were really helpful to you?
First grade, Miss Loggins. There were two Miss Loggins, but the one taught me was wonderful.
That's a good name.
I never thought about that. Different spelling. Anyway, I learned there that God had given me an ability to maybe read, because when we would read well, we got candy. Mm-hmm. I was in line every day. And so God knew that He called me to preach, and one day I'd surrender. I needed to be able to read. So I enjoyed her. I had Miss Merle, Miss Polk, what a wonderful lady, Miss Powers. Miss Powers, fourth grade, called me a spoiled brat one day. I didn't know what a spoiled brat was. So there you go. That was my intellectual level in the fourth grade.
What subjects were you better in, maybe worse in school? What did you really love, and maybe what you just kind of got by in?
Well, you won't believe this, but English. Miss Bobby Bowen, what a sweet lady. Mm-hmm. And her husband, Mr. Charlie, was my boss at the lecture department. But I guess English, but I loved history. What I really loved was trying to draw hot rods on paper while they were teaching me.
We have to have hobbies.
And hunting and fishing. Not while I was in school, but anyway, I digress.
Did you have a tight circle of friends that you kind of kept up with, or did they kind of come and go during your school years?
There were different social levels in school. And I was of the social level that I had very special friends. I never had the confidence to try out for the upper social level.
There's cliques in all schools.
Oh, there's cliques. Yeah. You were probably in the higher profile, intellectual. Yeah, you sell yourself short.
Right.
Velvet.
Well, you mentioned it a while ago that you felt you had a proficiency at reading, and that was kind of going hand in hand with your call to eventually preach.
Yes, sir.
So we might be getting ahead of ourselves. Tell us about your salvation experience. When did that happen?
Front row, we have different chairs now at this church.
Really?
But on the front row of this church, on November the 6th, 1960, I came forward, and my dad led me to the Lord. And then 1 week later, I was baptized.
Now, did he know this was going to happen, or did you spring it on him?
I think I sprang it on him. My mother was very instrumental in my salvation. I said, Mom, I'm going up next Sunday. So she expected me to go up, and I did go up. Now, who walked out behind me and went up and got saved the same day? Donald Bubba Parker.
Really?
A preacher. God called him to preach. And then we go from there.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Amazing story. And the rest, as they say, is history. Hey, we have lots more coming up with our very special guest, Brother Donnie Craig, on this debut visit. This is Home Folks Dickson County. Stay right where you are. Lots of stories, lots of memories still to come. We're back in just a moment. Certainly hope you're enjoying this debut visit on Home Folks Dickson County. More memories with Donnie Craig on the way for you shortly. I plan on doing a lot more of these visits. I want these conversations online, on YouTube, something that will last for our grandkids, their grandkids, and their grandkids. Now, I'm always on the lookout for Home Folks partners. If you own a business, operate a business, make decisions as far as your marketing for your business, I'd love to visit with you about the marketing opportunities on Home Folks Dickson County. I think you'll find it very reasonable. Easiest way to get in touch, by direct message on the Facebook page, Home Folks Dickson County on Facebook. Once again, Home Folks Dickson County on Facebook. Message me on that page, leave your contact info, and I'll get back to you and we'll talk more about it. Now, I've kept you long enough. Let's get back to more memories with Brother Donnie Craig on this initial visit here on Home Folks Dickson County. Thank you so much for joining us. This is our debut visit of Home Folks Dickson County. I'm Ken Loggins, your host. Don't forget, while you're here at the YouTube channel, if you like what you hear, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also follow us on Facebook, Home Folks Dickson County on Facebook, Home Folks DC here on YouTube. We appreciate you doing that. We appreciate Brother Donnie Craig visiting with us, sharing some memories. And a while ago, we were talking about his salvation experience. November 6th, 1960, 9 years old when you were saved.
Yes.
And from then on, of course, you talked about your time in school, some of your friends in school. At what point do you meet the future Miss Debbie
You
Craig?
mean the lovely Miss Debbie?
Yes.
Oh, man. Well, she attended this church. And she is like 5 years younger than me.
Okay.
So I was the guy that's 17 and 18. So I didn't even look her way. There were other girls that never looked my way, and I wanted them to. But one day the light come on. It was a light bulb moment. Mm-hmm. And I asked her out on a date. May I drop some ages here?
Sure.
She was 13,
mm-hmm.
and I was 18. But because I was a preacher's son, she went home and asked her beautiful mother, Marie, if she could go out on a date with me. And she said, now, my mama knew it would break my heart if she didn't say yes. So because I was a preacher's son, mm-hmm. she let us go out on our first date. And that was October the 4th, 1969.
I'm impressed. Where did you take her?
I had a double date. Mm-hmm. So I got a double date. I got some people to ride in the back seat. And I picked her up. First thing, I blew it. I blowed the horn. Such idiocity. Is that a word, idiocity?
Not very gentlemanly.
You don't blow the horn. And she told me, Marie told me that. Mm. So I think I opened the door, let her in. She looked beautiful, ravishing. And she turned 14 on December the 5th. By then, we were an item by then.
Okay, so it was steady since that first day.
Yes, sir. I went in the Army in 71, and she was so sweet. She waited on me. But we got married, and I'm jumping ahead. Mm-hmm. Is that okay with you?
That's okay.
I mean, you're doing the interview. I didn't know. But in 72, we got married. Mm-hmm. She was whopping 16 and a half. Wow. But we've been married 54 years this year.
Congratulations.
It worked for us.
Yeah.
And I took her to Germany, finished out my tour, we come home.
Now, earlier we were talking about you getting saved. At what point do you feel the call to preach? At what age?
1982.
Really?
I felt a calling. I woke my wife up at 8, Miss Debbie, We were married. I woke her up at 3:30 in the morning. I said, Mom, I called her Mom. I said, I feel like I'm being called to preach. I'd had a dream, and in my dream I was preaching. Now, all folks may not agree with this, but I've never looked back. September 1982, I started preaching.
So, I was under the impression that maybe not long after your salvation experience, you had those thoughts in your head since you were in a pastor's family. What, before then, when you were like in grade school, high school, what did you have in mind for the future? I mean, did you have the military in mind? Did you have anything you specifically wanted to do with your life?
Work at Kroger.
You wanted to work at Kroger.
I worked at Kroger when I was in high school.
Yeah, that was your summer job.
That was my summer job, and then after I graduated, I worked for Kroger. And but then I went to work for the state of Tennessee. My father-in-law, to be, was my boss. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, that's another story. But when I was in high school, a lot of guys went to, we called it VOTEC then, and took drafting. And I just knew that's what I wanted to do. But one day, my mother and I were walking, and I said, Mom, I don't think I want to go to VOTEC. And she said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I've got a job at Kroger. I'll just stay there. And Kroger's a good position. They make good money. But anyway, from there, all the twists and turns took place.
Okay. So how did the military come about?
Well, I understand.
Was this a drafting situation?
In 1971, the draft, October of 70, I had went for my physical, I believe, in Nashville. They had the draft, and they drew out number 61. Well, I pretty well knew I was going, and I told my wife, my girlfriend, who is now my wife, we were sitting in the chair together, watched them draw the numbers out.
Wow. And
they drew, I think they drew May the 29th out, and he was number 63 or something like that. I said, I'll be going in March, and I went in March.
So at that point, you're probably thinking in the back of my mind, I'm heading to Vietnam.
Yes. And that's what made it so sad.
Mm-hmm.
And in all this, the church, there are all kinds of young guys in church. I was the only one. They all had a reason that they couldn't serve. And then they were coming up with ideas. They told me, now, Donnie, here's what you do. You put soap under your arms and you soap up real good. Donnie, you do this. Donnie, you do this. Donnie didn't do any of that. My dad, a World War II veteran.
Yeah.
Both my brothers served. And I considered it an honor to serve. So now Dr. Dan Drennan, who is a good man, gave me a letter that if I continued to be nervous, I might get a peptic ulcer.
Ah.
And they looked at that and threw it in the trash. In March, I was called up.
Where'd you go for basic?
Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
This past Sunday in my sermon, I even talked about that process, how that the last decision I ever made on my own was getting on the bus in Dixon to go to Fort Campbell. And really, that wasn't my decision. For some reason, they gave me the papers, and I was the leader. And I sat on that bus. We were traveling 41 to Clarksville to Fort Campbell. Miss Debbie and I, my girlfriend, who is my wife, had traveled that same road. And you talk about hard. That was hard. And then when you get there, they're very unkind to you. For some reason, you don't get off the bus fast enough. You don't know what columns of two. You don't know. And you say, yes, sir, because you're scared. Don't call me, sir. I work for a living. Okay, Sergeant. Don't call me, Sergeant. I'm a drill sergeant. You were scared to death, brother. Okay, I'm through.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, that you're painting the picture. That's what we need.
Mm-hmm.
From that point on, you're either answering to Uncle Sam or Miss Debbie to this present day.
Yeah, she was just my girlfriend then. But anyway, all right, I think I gathered your thought there. But can I say where I went from there?
Yeah, I was going to say, instead of heading overseas to Vietnam, you head overseas to Germany. How did that all come about?
Well, what happened is they sent me from Fort Campbell to Fort Bliss, Texas. Mm-hmm. And you won't believe this. they trained me on the Nike Hercules missile. Can you believe that? Me working on a missile or training on a missile. So I get my orders to go overseas to Germany, and they send me to a Hawk unit instead of Nike Hercules. So when I got there, processing in, I told them I could type. And thank you, Miss Jones. I appreciate that. 2 years of typing. Can you believe that? And this first sergeant came and got me and escorted me, and I was Radar O'Reilly for all my tour. By the time I got there, I had 19 months.
Okay.
And I was in Schweinfurt, Germany for 19 months. And at the halfway point, I married Miss Debbie and brought her over there with me.
What was that like, living in Germany?
Man, I had a 9-month honeymoon. There were no in-laws. There was just Miss Debbie and me.
Okay.
We grew together. Mm-hmm. And we spent every dime we had back home, sent it back home, and we were poor as Job's turkey. Can I say it on the radio?
Sure.
Job's turkey.
Sure.
And but we met some wonderful people over there. And hello out to Uncle Kay.
You know, I was going to ask you if you made any friends there in the military that you still know today.
Yes, East Tennessee, Mike and Kay Hayes, wonderful people.
You leave the military, you and Miss Debbie move back home.
Back home.
What then? You're thinking, hey, I got to get to work, got to support a family. So
we had $1,000, and I spent $700 and something of that, we did, on a trailer, brand new trailer. I moved it to lot number 1, Brannan Trailer Park. And I worked for the state of Tennessee. I left the state, went to work for the Dickson Electric Department. And I was there 14 years in all. From there, I went to Bible college. A shout out to, when we came back, Stuart Culpepper, who is about to retire. He came here with Elmore's a long time ago. He mows yards. He's about to retire. He helped me out. He gave me a job mowing yards. And at one point, I worked for Tensco, was able to start a mission church of First Baptist Dixon down in Pinewood.
Okay.
That was my first church that I started in, and it's still going there today. And 7 churches later, I'm sitting here. Never, ever dreamed I'd pastor this church.
Full circle, for sure, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
A full circle story. So before you went into ministry pretty much full time, I guess the longest time you spent at a job was with Dixon Electric, I would think.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Talk about some of the folks you worked with there back in the day. This would have been the 70s, I guess.
Yeah, I went there in 74, and I worked as a meter reader. It was quite a job. I've been bit several times. And,
by dogs, not people?
Yeah, people didn't bite me, but dogs did. And I love dogs, but they would bite me. And but I worked with Ricky Robinette and Glenn Choate. Glenn's still alive. Every time I see him, I say, "I thought you were dead." But
don't say that.
Don't say that. You
don't
can't say that. But I work with him and Don Bradford. Don Bradford died in a timber accident. And Bryce Street, Dallas Goodnight, Nancy Watson, what a sweet lady. She passed 2015, I think. But Louise Gary, Joyce Gibbs. Joyce is still living. The Gibber, I call her the Gibber, Joyce Gibbs. Her husband was Bill. Lots of good friends. Charlie Bowen, he was my boss. What a great guy. Ernie Brown, he was the big boss. He's passed now. But it's amazing. I keep saying that, but a lot of people have passed away. And I have had diabetes since 1998 or 99, and God has been good to me. And He's really been good to me. But I take 4 shots a day. And but again, God is good to me. When I go to VA, that's where I go. They smack me around a little bit. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I've got to do this. I need to lose weight, and it's hard for me to lose weight, brother. I love to eat. Now, some people eat to live. Some people live to eat.
I hear you.
You can quote me on that if you want to. And look at you, little slim thing that runs 18 miles every morning. But you need to not live to eat, but eat to live.
Good advice. At that point in the 70s,
yes, sir.
Mid to late 70s, you start to have a family. The kids come along, don't they? Tell us about your kids.
Well, they're on the wall. Not literally.
No,
They're pictures on the wall.
Pictures on the wall. Yeah.
Deidre was first, 1975. Beautiful baby. She was our first. Don Craig. Don Craig from the radio here in Dickson. Yes. He was a middle child. And then Jennifer Ellen. That's, they need to look at the pictures on the wall, but they can't see them, can they? Yeah. Those were our three lovely children.
The 80s roll around, and like you say, you have that moment where you bolted up middle of the night.
Yes.
Felt like you had been called to preach.
Yes.
We might have already covered this ground, but kind of pick it up from there. Where does life take you after you get that call?
I get that call. I started a church down in Pinewood. It's still going. We were there from 84 to 1990. I did a revival way down in the country. And this gentleman said, here's my card. We want you to be our pastor, Riverview, Michigan. So the pastor was taking Miss Debbie and I to eat, and I showed her. I said, "This man handed me a card. He wants me to be the pastor because he actually likes me." And I ended up in Riverview, Michigan. Wonderful time up there.
And how long?
1990 to 92.
Okay.
And then began to pastor Pomona Baptist Church. I was there until the end of 2000.
And while you were serving there as pastor at Pomona Baptist, that's when I first met Donnie Craig. During that stretch that we had a lot of fun on the radio here locally. We're going to get into all of that coming up shortly. We're visiting with Donnie Craig, and we have lots more on the way. Stay close. More coming up in a moment. Certainly hope you're enjoying this debut visit on Home Folks Dickson County. More memories with Donnie Craig on the way for you shortly. I plan on doing a lot more of these visits. I want these conversations online, on YouTube, something that will last for our grandkids, their grandkids, and their grandkids. Now, I'm always on the lookout for Home Folks partners. If you own a business, operate a business, make decisions as far as your marketing for your business, I'd love to visit with you about the marketing opportunities on Home Folks Dickson County. I think you'll find it very reasonable. Easiest way to get in touch, by direct message on the Facebook page, Home Folks Dickson County on Facebook. Once again, Home Folks Dickson County on Facebook. Message me on that page, leave your contact info, and I'll get back to you and we'll talk more about it. Now, I've kept you long enough. Let's get back to more memories with Brother Donnie Craig on this initial visit here on Home Folks Dickson County. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello there, I'm Ken Loggins. Thank you so much for joining us for this debut visit here on Home Folks Dickson County. Our extra special guest, Brother Donnie Craig, as we're catching up with Brother Donnie and in this segment talking about the radio days when I first met Donnie Craig as we're transitioning from the 80s into the 90s. Brother Donnie a while ago mentioned he was serving as pastor at Pomona Baptist Church. Now, how did you get involved in local radio here in Dickson County?
Well,
initially,
going back, when I was in high school, FFA, we would go to the radio station, and there was a fellow named Joe Webster.
Oh, yeah.
And Joe Webster, what a great guy. One day he was shaving, and I thought, how can you do that on the radio?
Well, it's an audio medium. Nobody can see it.
I guess so. Nobody knew what he was doing. But he was just a great guy. He made, we were just little amateurs, little FFA guys. And I think I said, huh? And that's all I said. But one day I got a call from Joe Webster.
Okay.
I think the way it went, he wanted area ministers to come and Friendly Neighbor Time. He wanted us to come and host Friendly Neighbor Time because supposedly we were good speakers, we could read and things like that. So I went in, and it just sort of caught on fire, I liked it. I became great friends with Joe Webster. He was the beginning of me being on the radio, and then it just went from there. I began to host Friendly Neighbor Time on certain days of the week. Met Warren Medley, Miss Annalee Williams. She was a wonderful lady. She was a teacher at school. She had a day, friendly neighbor time. Over the years, I began to host more. But Joe Webster, he was the cornerstone of me being on WDKN. And by the way, WSM, there's a guy, Teddy Bart. I listen to him. I love that. I love Teddy when I was reading meters. I wrote him a letter, and I said, I want to be in radio. He said, go to college. Go to college? I met with Bill Potts. I went to the old station on College. I met with Bill Potts, such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Told him, I want to be on radio. He said, go to college. Well, I never went to college, but the Lord blessed me that I was on the radio, and then I started my own show, Daybreak, with Donnie Craig.
Okay.
We'll get to that eventually.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And what I haven't mentioned enough so far is all the while you're behind the pulpit and getting some regular time on local radio, you also have quite a music ministry going on. Gospel music was very much a big part of your ministry, wasn't it? I mean, it actually came before the preaching, didn't it?
Yes, and I made a CD. I have one CD, and featuring my dad, Pop Earl Craig, and my son Don played the guitar, and we made a CD. You've helped me make copies of it. There was a Christian bookstore downtown, and I carried some CDs there. I sold 7.
There you go.
Sold 7.
All right.
Made $72.
Awesome.
And that's it. But
Don get his cut?
no, he didn't.
Okay.
No. And Pop, bless his heart, he never asked.
It never ever hurts to already be known in the community as a pastor, as a music minister. So, people knew who they were tuning in to.
Yes.
When you were on the radio. Now, do you remember specifically when you first met Chuck Dauphin?
Chuck Dauphin.
Crazy Chucky.
Crazy Chucky. Let me think. Maybe when I went in to host Friendly Neighbor Time, he was running the board. And there were some other people that worked the board, but here come Chuck Dauphin, and it was a keeper.
Yeah.
It was a keeper. He was such a nice guy, and we had a lot of fun. The first time I did Daybreak with Donnie Craig, my own program, and I had sponsors. Chuck and we'd always been silly on the radio, but it was a more serious show. I played gospel music, radio Bible class. I did that. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know what to do.
Who does on the radio? We just make it up as we go, usually.
And all of a sudden, we hit our groove. And we had a blast. And then I would invite preachers in on Wednesday, and I would interview them. Can you believe that? And
who would want to step into that? I mean,
so I have
talk about the Lion's Den. I mean.
Yeah.
What I thought was so fantastic about you and Chuck and the way you work together was oftentimes we do a radio show and maybe we're doing one together. We go into a song, we cut off the mic, and we start the funny business then. We start joking around about stuff.
Right.
Well, in y'all's case, it was the other way around.
Oh, yeah.
The funny business was on the air. Of course, you had the FCC guidelines involved, but rarely was anything off limits. I mean, it was
but it was all clean.
It was all clean,
Absolutely.
family friendly, but it didn't take long for Chuck to figure out what pushed your buttons.
You want me to talk about it?
And country music has always been filled with a subject matter, whether it's drinking or infidelity, that is not always pastor or church friendly. And Chuck found the perfect songs to play right before Daybreak, right after Daybreak, that would make you clutch at your chest and stress and have all these, and he would love every minute of it. At what point, how long did it take for that to kick in, for the inside jokes to start?
He before my show, he played a song like that. And I said, oh my goodness, I don't like that. Well, that did it.
So it was on after that.
And he was on.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
he would play him.
It was in heavy rotation if it caused you some discomfort. I first met Chuck. They hired me. Jackie Rhodes hired me at the radio station in 1996. It was owned at that time by Tommy Edmondson, Leroy Kennel, and Oscar Eubank. And Chuck was my supervisor.
Oh, my goodness.
And so I kind of learned how everything worked by shadowing Chuck. And one of my shadow gigs was sitting in on Daybreak one morning. And I just could not get over what you guys were getting away with on the radio. It was so much fun. It was undisciplined. It was unformatted. But it was fun, which is what radio is supposed to be.
Fun, unscripted.
We lose sight of that,
Absolutely.
And you had so many longtime faithful sponsors of Daybreak with Donnie Craig that would often find themselves in the middle of our jokes and our chicanery. Dixon Florist, Greater Dixon Gas Authority.
Oh, yes. Betty Harper. Harper Chrysler.
Harper's Chrysler, yes. Yeah. She would be name dropped all the time.
Oh, yeah. I would say I know Betty Harper. Well, one morning, she had a sign made, "I know Donnie Craig." And she walked up and down in front of the station.
Well, it was amazing that Mr. Medley, the ownership, they let us do what we did because, it brought in revenue to the station.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah. And for some folks, it was appointment radio. They would tune in at exactly 7 o'clock.
Radio. I never heard that.
To hear what Donnie Craig and his gang would be up to on that particular day. Just like Swap and Shop was appointment radio.
Yeah.
That's for sure. When did you first recall meeting Larry Petty?
Larry Petty. Oh, my. He's in glory now. But he was part of the Greater Dixon Gas Authority. And he was their representative. He would come on Wednesday, and he would sit down, and I would say, "You're listening to Daybreak." He'd say, "Daylight." "No, Larry, it's Daybreak." Well, that became a shtick.
Yeah.
And then it just stick from then on. And Larry,
as if Chuck Dauphin wasn't enough. Larry was brought in to kind of further antagonize you.
Yeah. And then one Wednesday, another employee, who's a sheriff's deputy now. He was an employee of Greater Dixon Gas. He came in. He brought his son. And he said hello to all the rednecks in White Bluff. "No, you can't say that. Don't say that." And he never came back. He never came. Get him out of here. But that was part of what happened.
That's just part of live radio. We'd take phone calls live on the air. There was no delay. You never knew what was going to happen.
One morning, Chuck and I pushed baptismal regeneration too far.
Got into a theological discussion.
Yeah, I'd say, "Chuck, is that water?" "Yeah, it's water. What about it?" So anyway, we pushed it too far. Woo, I had to make a phone call and apologize.
Okay.
Me being a Baptist. Okay.
If you knew Larry Petty, you knew that after you had met him initially, you had made a lifelong friend.
Absolutely.
And every time he saw you, he was going to know who you are. He was going to take the time. You weren't going to get a drive-by. He was going to take the time to visit. How are you? What's going on?
And he was on the clock.
How's your family? Certainly, anytime he would come in and guest on Daybreak with Donnie Craig, I know the Greater Dixon Gas Authority certainly got their money's worth.
They did.
Every 5 minutes, there was a live commercial thrown in by Larry Petty.
Man, I'll throw this in.
Sure.
He made this very popular. Don't just turn it on. Turn it up.
Yeah.
And I heard that. Oh, my God. Okay, Larry, are you through? Remember when you were so kind to let, maybe in Chuck, I don't know, but we called the Old Timers Day Parade.
Oh, yeah.
You remember those years?
Mm-hmm.
There we would sit with our little, sometimes it was cold. Anyway, there would be, I think, Chuck, Larry, and me. And Larry and I would argue about the cars. He said, "There's a good-looking 56 Chevrolet." I'd say, "Larry, that's a 55. "No, it's not." And Chuck was like, "Oh, my goodness. Call the parade."
Larry would call Dixon Florist, Greater Dixon Florist, as I recall.
Did he? I don't know.
Any chance to get in Greater or Gas or Authority, even if it was another sponsor, he would work it into their name.
And what did I say? They'll give you gas.
But, as radio guys, we know this. Something as simple as "don't just turn it on, turn it up." It stuck in people's heads.
Yeah.
And, if it got the Greater Dixon Gas Authority an account or two, it was well worth it.
Can I drop this name?
Oh, sure.
My brother-in-law, Robert Durham, the manager of Greater Dixon
very good
Gas
to us
Authority.
back, and very patient and very.
Yeah, he's really patient.
He was.
He said, "I don't ever listen."
That's how he
I
was.
don't want to listen.
He probably wouldn't have been impatient if he'd listened. But maybe the highlight of that era, we have to talk about the road trip to Jonesboro, Arkansas.
Yeah, it was pure harassment.
You were kind of kidnapped. We promised you a free meal or two along the way, and that was enough. But
yes.
It was myself, Chuck Dauphin, Larry Petty, and Donnie Craig.
Yes.
Went to Jonesboro, Arkansas
Yes.
to see T.G. Shepherd. We went backstage and met T.G.
Well, it was something like that. We went to his bus.
Yeah, Chuck Dauphin. Yeah, there wasn't really a backstage. We went to the bus, yeah.
And I shook his hand, and I said, "Give them heaven, not give them hell. Give them heaven."
I think truly there was divine, I mean, we joke about it, but I think there was divine intervention on the way home because I think we underestimated our travel time. And it was a late night.
Like
and we
2 in
were
the morning.
all sleepy.
Absolutely.
We decided for some reason we weren't going to get a hotel along the way. We were going to drive from Jonesboro, Arkansas down to Memphis, back to Dixon. And poor Larry Petty, he drove.
Yes.
And I was having trouble staying awake. And I knew Larry was having trouble. And I was thinking to myself, who's going to keep Larry awake? Because we're all trying to stay awake. But we made it.
I got home at 2 in the morning and preached a few hours later. So
You gave him heaven. Lots more on the way with Brother Donnie Craig on this very special visit. It's Home Folks, Dickson County. I'm Ken Loggins. We're back in just a moment. Certainly hope you're enjoying this debut visit on Home Folks, Dickson County. More memories with Donnie Craig on the way for you shortly. I plan on doing a lot more of these visits. I want these conversations online, on YouTube, something that will last for our grandkids, their grandkids, and their grandkids. Now, I'm always on the lookout for Home Folks partners. If you own a business, operate a business, make decisions as far as your marketing for your business, I'd love to visit with you about the marketing opportunities on Home Folks, Dickson County. I think you'll find it very reasonable. Easiest way to get in touch, by direct message on the Facebook page, Home Folks, Dickson County on Facebook. Once again, Home Folks, Dickson County on Facebook. Message me on that page, leave your contact info, and I'll get back to you, and we'll talk more about it. Now, I've kept you long enough. Let's get back to more memories with Brother Donnie Craig on this initial visit here on Home Folks, Dickson County. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Home Folks, Dickson County. Thank you so much for being here at the YouTube channel. I encourage you to subscribe while you're here and help us spread the word about what we're doing. We're preserving these memories, these stories, so for generations to come, we'll be able to enjoy these as long as there's a YouTube or something equivalent. And we're also on Facebook, Home Folks, Dickson County on Facebook, so please follow us there if you get a chance. It's my privilege, an honor to be visiting with Brother Donnie Craig, one of the dear friends I made during my time in Dixon radio in the mid-'90s, early 2000s as well. We were talking about some of the fun times we had with folks like Crazy Chucky Dauphin, Larry Petty. You know, Christy with a K was a big part
Christy, yeah.
of the radio family at that point.
I didn't marry her. I married her husband.
You might want to clarify that.
Yes,
you officiated.
Yeah, and they're still not
For her and Tim.
Yes.
And,
Good guy.
no one could do swap and shop like Christy with a K.
Christy with a K. When I was reading electric meters, when Joe Webster, when he would do swap and shop, I would call and say, Mr. Joe, I've got some puppies that need to be given away or something like that. And he would get on there and he would say, you know what, I've had one of these puppies before. They're good puppies. You need to get one. That's how good he was.
Salesman, yeah.
He was good.
Help you out. And, I think Peak Swap and Shop while I was at the station anyway, we would have 90 minutes worth of swap and shop calls. Now, a good chunk of that would be commercials, thank goodness, because that kept the bills paid.
Yeah, right.
But still, if you could fill 90 minutes with a swap and shop,
It's amazing.
I mean, you get 60, 65, maybe 70 calls. We're having all this fun in Dickson radio, and then Chuck tells me one day, Brother Donnie's moving to Clifton, Tennessee.
Clifton.
And my first question was, where is Clifton, Tennessee?
Yeah.
Where in the world? And now Chuck knew, because Chuck knew where every
Absolutely.
little hamlet was in Tennessee, because he drove all the back roads and stuff all the time. But Clifton, Tennessee, how long would you pastor there?
Let's see. I went there in 2004 is when I left. But you and Chuck come down to see me there. I lived on, what was that address? It was so Americana. Elm Street. I lived on Elm Street.
You did.
On the Tennessee River in beautiful Clifton, Tennessee.
Which, if you've never been, it's a really nice little out-of-the-way place.
Yeah,
there.
and it's almost like they're on an island to themselves.
Look it up, Clifton, Tennessee.
And the big job was being a riverboat employee or a captain.
You still have a lot of friends in Clifton?
Absolutely. Good people. Mighty good people.
You know, I left this story out a while ago, but it's one of my favorites because not long after I was hired on and been with the station for a few years, your son, Don Craig, would start working for the radio station.
Yes. Taught himself to play the guitar.
And
Very good.
you talked about this a while ago, but he helped you out on the CD you made.
He played the guitar flawlessly, that entire group of songs. And the last song, Pop was sort of sickly then and weak, but he helped us on Time Has Made a Change. Let's see, Don did the first stanza, I did the second stanza, and Pop did the last stanza. Then we came in and harmonized on the last refrain. And Pop said, now, brother, he said, that's harmony. That's harmony. I still have that CD.
Yes. Still available.
Yeah, if you can make copies, dollars.
Don, he never got a cut. I never got a cut.
Did you not
that
get
production?
Oh,
so
man.
yeah. Anyway,
Well, anyway,
I'll be
let's
looking
move
for
on.
my 30-cent royalty.
I'll get a bill in the mail.
Moving right along, and this is a tough part of the visit, no doubt about it. But just a few short years ago, we lost our dear friend Chuck Dauphin.
We did.
It still hurts like all get out today.
Absolutely.
But Chuck, I thought, had a lot of life still to live.
And what a wealth of knowledge. Oh, my goodness.
A knowledge of not just country music. I mean, he was spot on with all of that, but in all genres of music, movies, sports, Dallas Cowboys, NFL. He had encyclopedic knowledge. You know, you ask Google something, you could ask Chuck something back in the day, and more often than not, before Google, he would be spot on. You know, it's so sad that we lost him way too young, but I'm so happy that he had a chance to do a lot of things that he wanted to do before he passed. He got to interview Kenny Rogers, which was his all-time favorite artist.
He loved him.
He got to interview Dolly Parton and give her a big hug.
Yeah.
All these stars. He won a CMA award. You had, I still to this day am amazed about how you pull this off, but you, along with Matthew Hyatt, there at the Church of Christ in Burns, Chuck's home church, you preached the funeral. I've been to a lot of funerals in my 58 plus years. Never one like that one. First of all, you had all these VIPs in attendance. You had John Berry there. You had Sylvia was there. The list goes on because Chuck knew a lot of people, and a lot of people thought the world of him, from the world of music, world of sports. That place was packed. I don't see how you did it, but you did such a wonderful job of paying tribute to Chuck, but at the same time, making a funeral about as fun as you can make a funeral.
Yes.
With the back and forth with you and Matthew. And it was something that Chuck would have just absolutely loved. Now, here's my question. Was this something you consciously thought of before the funeral, or was it just off the cuff, if you just got up there and let her rip?
I remember parking, and you could hardly find a parking place. I remember walking the parking lot, and I didn't know what I was going to say. So when I got up there, the first thing, if I could say this, when I got behind the pulpit at the Burns Church of Christ, I sat up in heaven. Chuck Dauphin is saying, Brother Medley, come over here. Henry Reagan, come over here. Donnie Craig's behind a Church of Christ pulpit. And I think that's where it started.
That kind of loosened everybody
it
up.
Did.
Yeah.
Matt, he is a great guy. He really is a great guy.
You know, that's you. That's God working through you.
Amen.
To comfort people.
It was wonderful.
No better tribute than I can think of.
Brother Matt, one of the things, zingers, he said, you know, we got 500 gallons of water behind you there. We can take care of you. But that was fun. We just had a great time.
And during the entire time you were up there, every now and then you would kind of side-eye the baptistry, you know, like you were nervous, you know, and it was putting you on edge. And it was just, like I say, Don joked with me after the service. He said, Dad is obviously losing his filter. And I said, he was spot on with everything. Chuck would have, if Chuck would have drawn it up, he couldn't have drawn it up any better than how you guys delivered his send-off. And still, so many great memories of course, Larry has left us as well. So many memories of those guys. And you mentioned Henry Reagan, Joe Webster, Warren Medley.
Bill Potts.
Yeah. They all set such a great example. Hopefully through something like this, the memory of those people can live on in stories.
The one thing I always wanted to say on the radio, and I got to say it, there will be no school today in Dickson County. The snow is at the Tennessee River. I remember that. We were in school, they would say, the snow is at the Tennessee River, and we're going to close school today. And then I would go in to do radio, and there would be no school. I said, can I say it? Can I say it? There will be no school today in Dickson County. I loved it.
Life these days for Donnie Craig. Talk a bit about it. I don't anticipate you ever getting to a point where you just say, I just want to fully retire.
No, probably not.
I think you're always going to be, as long as you're able, I think you're going to be preaching the word.
Yes, sir. I think the church here's attitude is they want me to die here. So
not literally.
Not literally.
No one wants to kill you or anything. You know.
I live in the home that built me. The parsonage is where I live. It was completed in 1964. I lived there for 7 years, and then I went into the Army. And now I moved back to be the pastor here. Not my choice, but the Lord worked all that out. Anyway, that was in 2016 is when I started living there again, and I'm still there.
Full circle story, no doubt about it. And you and Miss Debbie, a love story that continues today and will continue beyond this world.
Beyond. She's still beautiful, and I've lost my hair, I've lost my teeth, but I've still got her. And, of course, the Lord. The Lord is first, and she knows that.
I always like to wrap up these visits with life advice.
Yes.
If you were to say a word or two to someone younger, just getting started, maybe in school, maybe with a young family, the best life advice you can think of.
Being a preacher, of course, I would say make Christ the center of your home. Be a Christian. Miss Debbie and I both grew up in this church. So when we got married, we were both Christians. And we went off to Germany. We come back to this church, and then God called me to preach. But my best friend is my wife. She is my wife. You need somebody that you're going to enjoy growing old with, because as you grow old, things change. And Miss Debbie amazingly still loves me, brother. And look at me now. The gray hair happens.
Well, hey, we all love you.
No hair happens.
Living proof right here.
But that's the advice. What I've found in marriage counseling, some folks get married. It's a 4-letter word that begins with an L, but it's lust. make sure it's love. And you want to grow old with that person. And she and I will be married 54 years, June the 5th.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you so much for being a part of this initial visit here on Home Folks Dickson County. It's flown by. It's been a lot of fun.
Just one last question. Do I get paid? Why are you laughing? I don't understand.
We'll see we'll see if the sales of that CD pick up, and then we'll talk about it.
Oh, no. Okay, I don't get paid nothing.
The one, the only, Donnie Craig. That's just not a figure of speech. There is only one, and only one.
Yeah, Debbie says that. And that's good marriage advice.
Donnie Craig, yeah.
May there only be one and only.
There you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for joining us here on Home Folks Dickson County, our initial visit. And what a way to kick it off with Brother Donnie Craig. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Home Folks DC on YouTube. Please subscribe, absolutely free of charge to do so. We'll have more of these sorts of visits on the way in the coming weeks, so I don't want you to miss out. And also follow us on Facebook, Home Folks Dickson County on Facebook. It's all the time we have. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. For Brother Donnie Craig, I'm Ken Loggins. Thank you so much, and God bless.